Hi there. In this video I'm just going to go over the data visualization prototype that I've built, which was just a bit of a sketch. I just wanted to try a few things out which I hadn't done as yet. I've been meaning to do this for ages actually. But at the moment the way I'm driving it is just using a slider on the HUD. I hope this HUD isn't flicking because I just did a video a moment ago and for some reason the screen capture couldn't cope with it, but it's not flicking for me, so let's persevere. So, it's a very traditional bar chart. Start with the basics. Obviously, data visualization can be much more abstract or generative. At the moment I am using a data table within Unreal Engine, but in the workshop that I'm going to be doing, running through this in detail, I will pull in the data from a Google Sheet so that as that updates and pulls in, then the chart will update automatically based on any data that has been updated in the cells of that Google Sheet that is linked to this. So, that could then be a live feed of any information. You'll note that when I'm changing the slider here, the colors are changing. So red basically means that comparing the previous month to the selected month, if it's red, then that column value has gone down. If it's green, it's gone up. If it remains black, then it hasn't changed. So for example, you'll see that as I'm clicking along, I'm getting a kind of preview of the next month's values. So I'm getting some visual feedback on the comparison already, but just to confirm that, when I let go, so this column didn't change. So when I click on the slider, because none of the values are changing, all of the columns will flash black. But then if I come down and compare August to, say, July, then these two didn't change, if you saw that. So column 3 and 4 won't change colour, they'll go black, and the others will move up and down. So that's quite fun. At the moment I've just got them spooling in a line. I can of course give them X and Y location to spawn so that they align with a particular district in the map. The reason I've got them in a line is because I then wanted also to create a different version of a graph, just to try working with a spline and connecting a spline, but then updating that spline dynamically, again based on the information. Now I have tried to animate between these and I haven't got that working at the moment, so I'm going to persevere with that, but I spent a fair few hours last night trying to get that to work, but that's fine. That's keeping me occupied at the moment. Now, one of the other things within the chart is sort of changing the visualization. So here I've got material that basically can be aligned to another value. So it's giving you, as well as the column height as a value, it will then also potentially have another layer of data within the column. So I'm just using this material to kind of simulate that. And that then of course can be applied across all sorts of different materials that end up getting applied to the same meshes. So you'll note that I am just in simulation mode for the purpose of this demo. Let me just come out of that because that's a bit high res. Getting some glitch. But in terms of, so you can see what's going on underneath, I've actually just applied that to a sphere, but because I'm then have a plane cutting it off, I've got these animating domes. This is just a free model of New York that I found. So if we launch the project as a standalone game, you'll note that here are our columns. And when I scrub the slider, which is, as I say, just for demo purposes at the moment, you can see I'm getting a preview of the values of those columns. But you'll also note that I've now got labels on the height of those columns, and they are updating based on that value changing in this slider. So that's kind of one interaction. When I let go, it triggers the animation of those columns, and then you'll see that the colors have also updated of the text of the label depending on whether the value increases or decreases. So green is higher and the pink is lower. Grey is where the column hasn't changed. So that was the interaction there. Now we also have, I've got a slight glitch here from this spline that I need to fix. But in a similar way, I've got a single spline that I'm spawning these individual segments, which then connect based on the location of the highlight element, which will all make sense when we dive into the blueprints. But again, that is updating in real time when I scrub for now, but if that Google Sheet updated, then this value would kind of animate down or up depending on how those values change, and of course how often I update the spreadsheet. Now I did try and animate in between these, as I say, but not working at the moment. Now this slider was just for me to experiment with the tangents, but you'll note that if I make the tangent 0, pretty much 0, it gives us a kind of sharp graphic. But if I then just bump up the tangent to about 8, I think it breaks at about just over 10. So 8 and a bit is quite good, and it just gives a really nice sort of flowing graphic. Obviously we're down here at street level, we can be higher up looking down, or indeed just make the camera look at it from the desired angle. And if that's a sort of flat elevation, so be it. We can kind of still be within our world, but we can play with the data and present it in the most legible way. So coming out of here, I've also then got rollovers on these column items, but again can just be another layer of information. So it's just a sketch really to sort of start playing around with the notion of live data, and I'll be running through each aspect of this in the blueprint and how I put it together. So please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you receive notification of when this is going live. So hopefully that's of use. If these videos are giving you some value, then please do like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. So thank you for your support.
Live long and prosper.